A teenage boy witnessed his father's murder and was pursued by the same assassins. With the help of a young female ranger, they tried to escape the dangers ahead. Will they survive both the planted wildfire and the assassination?
Hello, and welcome to our channel. Today we'll review and recap an action drama movie called Those Who Wish Me Dead. Let's check it out.
On a hot sunny morning in Florida, a woman opens the door to a fireman and a representative from a gas company. One of the men explains to her that a gas leak is detected in her home, so she lets them in. Moments later, the two men leave the house, with one having a bloodstain on his shirt. Suddenly, a large explosion occurs, destroying the whole house. The two men are actually hired hitmen, Jack and Patrick. While making breakfast and chatting with his son Connor, a breaking news catches Owen's attention. He finds out that his superior and his family have been killed this morning. Owen becomes alarmed and anxious about his surroundings right after that. He is convinced that what happened to his superior was not an accident. He is a forensic accountant who recently uncovered big corruption cases and scams involving high-ranking officials. The petrified accountant rushes out with his son, fearing for their safety, and now they are on their way to Ethan, his trusted brother-in-law. The hired assassins arrive at Owen's house, but they realize their target is already gone. They search the area to find clues about where he is headed. However, they suspect where the man is after seeing a picture of him with his law enforcement relative. The accountant wakes up early the next day and writes down all of his secrets on a piece of paper. He intends to give it to his son just in case something goes wrong. On their way to him, the kid notices a broken down car on an isolated mountain road. He asks his father if they should help him. However, his dad says no right away. Suddenly, the man in the broken down car starts shooting at them. It turns out he was the same assassin who killed his boss. Owen tells his screaming son to take cover and drives straight to hit one of the assassins. However, the other hitman who is on top of the hill also starts shooting. Owen is critically shot in the chest but holds in the pain. This causes him to completely lose control of the car and crash it off the road and down the mountain. With a little time to escape, Owen hands over all the evidence to his son. In a state of fear and dread, he instructs him to hide under a fallen tree and head to a nearby town to get help exposing the evidence to the public. Under the tree, Connor painfully watches his father while the hitmen shoot relentlessly. He crashes the car to the bottom of the mountain, accepting his own fate. Shortly after, on patrol, Ethan sees a parked car on the side of the road. A bloodied, lifeless woman catches his attention and he starts investigating the scene. Unfortunately, the two hitmen already escaped the scene and manage to hear the policeman's report. Realizing the boy's escape, the assassins are now enraged and are now set to kill the kid. Hannah, a firefighter, is near the area where the ambush occurred. While cleaning up her wounds in the creek, she can't stop crying as she recalls a traumatic experience that happened a year ago. A wildfire took his co-worker's life, including innocent children, and it has haunted her ever since. Suddenly, she sees Connor and the boy runs away from her in fear that she's a bad person. She instantly chases after him and pins him down. She tries to calm the boy down and says she wouldn't hurt him. While the boy attempts to escape, she explains that the closest town is 12 miles away and suggests they call a helicopter from her radio tower. Connor realizes he has no other options, accepts her offer, and asks to call the news. Jack meets his boss Arthur at the airport to talk about how serious it is that a runaway kid might have copies of the evidence they are trying to get rid of. To buy themselves more time, he starts a forest fire so everyone's attention will be diverted to it. Now at the radio tower, Connor is uncomfortable with Hannah, but all communication systems are damaged due to a lightning strike earlier. She gives the kid two options, leave now or tomorrow to go to the nearest town. Connor, trusting Hannah, hands her the evidence and she realizes she must leave immediately. Unfortunately, on their way back to town, lightning strikes their path, forcing them to retreat and get themselves warmed temporarily. While resting, she shares her traumatic experience on duty as a firefighter, and the kid reveals that her mother died of cancer.
It's quite sad to think of what a tough journey Connor has had to make. He has no time to rest or properly mourn the passing of his father. Hannah must be a gentle and kind soul to understand that she needs to be gentle and kind to Connor without even knowing him.
The assassins break into Ethan's house to find a kid, but only his pregnant wife Allison is there. The terrified woman gets assaulted by the two men. Jack threatens to provide her information about Connor, so she calls her husband. While viciously monitored by the two men, she sends a code to her husband indicating that she is in critical danger. The assassins, quick to catch on, punch her ruthlessly on the ground, but she manages to hold onto a gas tank. Jack tries to fool her, but she is not deceived. She opens the gas tank, uses the flame against the two assassins, and runs to get a rifle. She fires back at Patrick, then hurriedly escapes. Ethan and another policeman rush to save her after receiving the call from his wife. They both arrive, but the second officer gets shot in the head as soon as he calls for backup. Ethan fires back at the assassins. However, Jack threatens to shoot him from behind, forcing the cop to drop his weapon and surrender. With a gun pointed at him, the cop is forced to help the assassins find his nephew, starting with checking the crash site. Ethan sees the kid's tracks and attempts to hide, but Patrick notices it and stops him. Understanding that he might not live, he taunts the two assassins, but Jack subdues him to the ground and threatens to burn the cop's wife alive if he doesn't cooperate.
While walking in the forest, Hannah and the kid come across a huge wildfire. This gives them no choice but to turn, but the kid wants to proceed. The pregnant woman cautiously returns home in order to track the current location of her husband. She takes a horse and then leaves to help him.
While resting at the tower with the kid, Hannah spots the assassins and the cop taken as a hostage, so they quickly hide. The two assassins decide to wait and instruct the cop to check the tower to see if anyone is present. Apart from that, Patrick orders him to start a fire so that they will be able to verify if the cop is lying. One of the assassins climbs a tree to get a better visual. Ethan busts open the door and sees the kid hiding under the bed while the firefighter is hiding in the corner of the room. Without any weapon, they try to find a way to escape without any weapon until Patrick sees the cop talking. The frustrated hitmen start shooting mercilessly at the tower. Hannah grabs Connor and rushes down to the ground using the ropes to escape. Seeing the two escape, the assassins chase them, but they are forced to split up when Allison starts shooting at them. Patrick goes after the child and the firefighter, while the other hitman shoots back at the pregnant woman to get her attention. Jack attempts to close in as he fires his rifle, not giving Allison a chance to fire back. However, as soon as he runs out of bullets, she swiftly aims and fires, hitting him critically.
Way to go, Allison. She's even more of a badass than her husband. Imagine her fighting against well-trained assassins while 6 months pregnant.
On the other hand, Hannah and Connor are trapped in the burning forest. To keep the boy safe, she instructs him to run 100 yards until he reaches the creek. She waits for the right opportunity to strike. When the assassin walks close, she swings her axe aggressively at him, swinging back and forth. Suddenly, the kid comes out of hiding and distracts the assassin. Hannah uses the opportunity to attack, causing the man to drop his weapon. However, Patrick still dominates the woman and hits her to the ground. The terrified and crying kid surrenders after the assassin threatens to kill the woman. As the assassin approaches the kid, Hannah sneaks from behind and hits him multiple times using an axe. Instead of killing the assassin, they leave him to be burned by the wildfire. The fire spreads quickly. The two of them use their remaining strength to dash into the water stream just in time, barely escaping the scorching fire. Meanwhile, Ethan and Allison await the fire together with their oxygen masks. Realizing her husband could not escape due to his severe injuries, she decides to stay together, letting fate decide what would happen to them. The rescuers arrive the following day to help them. Her husband, on the other hand, appears not to have survived. Hannah and Connor manage to survive as well. They follow the creek until the authorities rescue them. The child is concerned about what will happen to him after the incident, but the firefighter reassures him that they will figure it out together. The movie ends with the media arriving while authorities continue their efforts to stop the wildfire.
This movie is jam-packed with all sorts of action and suspense. You never know where or how things are going to go. And adding the right pacing really makes it an appealing movie for everyone who enjoys the combination of these different genres. The production value is also excellent, with the effects appearing to be felt in real life. And all of that makes this a definite must-watch for all you action thriller lovers out there. The audience is definitely going to wonder what happens to the kid once it's all over. Please subscribe to our channel to be notified when we upload. And don't forget to suggest movies that you want us to recap in the future in the comments down below.